It's wrong, but necessary. Thank you for watching. If you are a follower, because, well, you have to be if you're watching it on TikTok. If you are a sincere and benevolent viewer, follower of mine, thank you. I honor you. I honor the being. I honor your honor. And if you're seeing this on another platform at a later time and date, thank you for watching. And this is dedicated to targeted individuals and survivors of narcissistic and sociopathic, psychopathic abuse on an organized community scale, organized macro scale. In this world, whether or not, no matter what our belief systems are, it serves us to face the reality that there's something terribly off and ass backwards about especially the Western Hemisphere, especially the United States of America. Okay? The reason why I reference that is because that's my experience. I can't speak on Paris. I can't speak on these places in which I have not had any personal experience with. Okay, so the systems is backwards and very narcissistically governed and driven. Okay, in terms of the process of the judicial system. Those who are survivors of this type of stuff as they undergo therapy, when they're getting even relatively decent therapy from therapists that are themselves not narcissists, and are qualified enough to even be able to treat the targeted individual or assist the targeted individual. And so they teach us and tell us a lot about reactive abuse. This is where we come to the knowledge about it, that there's even such a thing as reactive abuse to begin with. And how, we all may have get to a point of that because of the long-standing abuse and trauma, okay? And for whatever reason, the legal system and the judicial system is not in alignment with that knowledge, is not in alignment or doesn't recognize those things. They only acknowledge and recognize those things as it pertains to maybe physical abuse that can be proven, if even then. Okay, so then as you're undergoing your recovery, and they give you teaching tools and methods to manage your own emotion or deal with it, to help you navigate through these scenarios. And one of those things are called the gray rock effect or greyrocking or something like that. Okay. And that's the whole premise of, you basically become zombie-like as it pertains to dealing with them, speaking to them, or even when you are proceeding with legal filings. And the gray rock is, like I said, you have to remove all emotion, any reactions, any emotions, okay, no matter how grotesque and how long. But simply able to not feed, because it's only going to come off, like I said, in this world, it's going to come off like you are the one that's emotionally unhinged, that you are the one that's toxic, that you are the one with some type of mental illness, because the abusers are sociopathic and they have mastered the art of being able to cover that up. So, as I said, it's wrong, it's unfair, but it's necessary. So we might have to find other means, targeted individuals, to deal with that, but it's going to serve so that you can proceed with legalities, even if they are still remaining ignorant, and even if they're in on it. That is going to be still a trail that's going to be recorded or transcribed that's undeniable. So even if they, you know, call in favors and what all the other shit that they attempt to do to try to bend it in their favor, when the rubber meets the road, this is a trail, this is a mark that's going to eventually eat them up and hit them in the ass. So if we are able to do that, because again, remember, they're conducting street theater every day to trigger you, to get an audience, to get you in some kind of reactive mode so that they can sit back and record and take note of that and twist and play with that. Okay? So as we begin to maybe, you still do what you need to do, but able to keep your composure, at least in front of law. At least for those intensive purposes, okay? That you're able to talk about it, because, they're going to ask you all these questions, and sometimes we're going to be upset, just like I was yesterday. Because you feel like you're the one being targeted, and then you're the one that's being interrogated, and it's just wrong. And not only that, the fact that you refuse to just lay down and just hide off in the corner, implicating that you must not be being stalked, because why are you outside? That's kind of another way of some of these people's questions. Why are you outside? Well, if that was the case, I wouldn't be anywhere, because technically speaking, the danger is everywhere. We're being stalked. So we wouldn't be anywhere. You see that? So it's going to be a little challenging to do as they ask you crummy, shitty questions in their game, their psychological game. Instead of wanting to really understand, most of the time, the legal system is simply looking for a way out. Not wanting to make a mess, because when these threads unravel, lots of heads will roll. So they're usually looking for, they don't want real justice. They want something to stay just as it is. And want to be able to navigate and get out of as much as they can, doing the bare minimum, because they don't want to unravel all of that. So they'll be looking for any excuse coming from you to dismiss. They're not really concerned about your civil rights and your human rights. They're just concerned about making it look like they are, and about keeping things as they need it to be. This is why you're going to have to remain calm, because it's going to be infuriating, especially dealing with a country who claims to be so intelligent, who claims to be the lead of the world, who claims to be an inspiration for all nations. It's infuriating when you're dealing with a country where the anthems, the national anthems and allegiances, pledges and all of that speaks of so much justice and so much, and it could be a spell on that we haven't seemed to really catch. It's disgusting. Especially for people who take all these oaths. That's how we know that oaths don't mean anything because of what we experienced with these people. People with badges, law enforcements, law officials, law officers. They take all these oaths that they don't honor. Which is why we don't trust them. Which is why it's going to take us, see how I'm just kind of talking slow and calm and trying to stay even keeled? It's almost a little bit like gray rocking. Gray rocking is very monotoned. It's flat. And as a matter of fact, it speaks in objects and factoids and events. But minus any feeling, minus any charge, minus any emotion. And I'm here to tell you, I understand if you are a targeted individual that stumbles on this video at some point on another platform of mine. I want you to know that I'm not into victim shaming. I understand full well about reactive abuse. But if you're at the phase where you are now proceeding legally because it's getting accelerated and more out of hand, then look into things that can help you. Getting into gray rocking so that you can speak and explain without getting excited, without your emotions coming through, okay? I think it's beautiful that we feel and that you feel. It means that you're a person and you bleed red. You have a heartbeat. You're not a programmed drone. You're not altogether detached from your humanity. However, the legal system does not honor any of that. And this is also something that your perpetrator, if they can, they will exploit and use that against you. Okay? Okay. It's wrong, but it's necessary.